Human nature drives us to constantly push our limits. Bigger, better, stronger, faster. But sometimes it takes extraordinary courage to stretch those boundaries to the point where lives are on the line, quite literally. Let's spotlight a couple of athletes with truly impressive bravery. Meet Vittorio Brumati, the world record holder for the most consecutive bicycle back-wheel pogo hops performed on top of a 143-meter high rock summit. But this daring stunt from 2010 was just the beginning for Vittorio. His freestyle skills have taken him and his bike to extreme heights around the globe, places bikes were never meant to be. For instance, check out this video shot at the pinnacle of the 656-foot-tall Henninger Turm in Frankfurt, roughly the same height as Trump Tower. And if that doesn't get your adrenaline pumping, watch as he bunny hops over the peaks of the curved Audi mountain in Italy, with sheer drops of over 1,000 feet on either side. He doesn't just walk the edge, he rides it. Now, if you were holding your breath before, just wait until you hear about Herbert Nitsch. Herbert is a world record free diver able to hold his breath underwater for an incredible 9 minutes at a time. His extreme breath-holding techniques allow him to descend to depths of over 400 feet without using any breathing equipment. That's as far down as a 37-story building is tall. At these kinds of depths, there are plenty of things that could kill him, but the main danger is water pressure. The increasing weight of seawater puts incredible strain on his body, like squeezing all the air out of a sponge. In 2012, Herbert made a dive that reached an unbelievable 800 feet. However, on his ascent, he suffered decompression sickness, which led to him having multiple strokes. But even that can't stop this incredible athlete. Following thorough rehabilitation, Herbert continues to free dive at incredible depths, which would take most people's breath away. When you think of snowboarding, you imagine beautiful fresh snow and a nice, gentle slope. Or are you like Travis Rice, where your dream comes true in almost impossibly steep runs packed with trees, uncontrollably fast, and with perilous mountain peaks? As you can probably tell, Travis is considered to be one of the world's top 20 snowboarders, which means runs like this really set the bar for snowboard professionals the world over. You can see here that he's making a completely blind entrance into this sniper chute that heads into a sheer cliff face and somehow doesn't manage to crash. Now, do you have a fear of small spaces or being trapped underwater? If so, I suggest you look away now. Cave diving is one of the most dangerous activities you can do. Just ask underwater explorer Andy Torbett. In an environment that offers no light, almost no room to move, and no air, I think most of us would give in to pure panic. But this is where Andy absolutely thrives. As you can see here, not afraid of the impossibly cramped spaces, Andy has been responsible for navigating some of the most difficult cave networks on Earth, such as the Cave of Skulls, Scotland's deepest pothole, and the Malham Cove pothole system. That's not to say he hasn't been terrifyingly stuck once or twice. There's a lot of equipment he's trying to cramp through some of the smallest flooded caves on Earth, but I think I'll stay on the beach, thanks. Up till this point, we've seen people who push themselves to the limit as a sport, but what if it's your work? Meet the Streb Extreme Action Dance Company. These absolutely incredible athletes take the meaning of dance to a whole new level by including gigantic metal structures to dictate their entire team's choreography for live performances. And that's not all. Some tricks are centered around literally throwing themselves across the room, avoiding fast-moving objects like huge steel girders, and the most terrifying tricks of all, the ones relying on the exact precision of all their dance partners to ensure no one gets hurt, which is all of them. As with any sport, the more moving parts involved, the more dangerous everything becomes. So, seeing how many moving parts there are here and how fast they're all moving, that's an incredible amount of trust to be giving. Would you be able to trust your coworkers like that? Didn't think so. Now for the insane feat of Salvador Morales. Virtually no information exists about this man, with one exception. He once climbed a 330-foot-high frozen waterfall using only his hands. According to a video released in 2011, Salvador tackled the formidable ice waterfall, massive, found in Oetstal, Austria. Any climbing expert will tell you that trying to climb a sheer wall of ice without tools is akin to suicide. Another video shows this mysterious madman effortlessly clambering up a second iced-over waterfall in the same region. That's around 210 feet tall. This spider may not have a new arch-nemesis, so we should be worried about. Now let's go back to someone more conventional. Say hello to Vince Reffitt. He's a skydiver, base jumper, and jetpack pilot. Did I say conventional? Sorry, it seems I meant downright ballsy. Vince has been piloting a jet-wing human jet propulsion prototype since 2015 and is one of the first people to ever use jetpack technology. The prototype he uses hits top speeds of 407 kilometers per hour. But take a look as he navigates his way through an unimaginably narrow gap in Tianmen Mountain, China. I don't think he's even breaking a sweat. With the tests they're doing, it's not hard to imagine that things could go wrong, especially if, for example, you're flying within a few hundred feet of a Boeing 747 that's in the air. I'm amazed he can sit down with the size of those coveralls. Remember how before we talked about how water pressure can be your worst enemy? Well, let's imagine that it comes crashing down on top of you all at once. Meet Rodrigo Coxa, a Brazilian-born daredevil who set the record for the biggest wave ever surfed. Surfing is something millions of people love to do, and for a really good ride, you need a few feet of swell. However, this just wasn't enough for Rodrigo. Check out this footage of him breaking the world record by taking on an absolutely colossal 80-foot wave in Nazaré, Portugal, in 2017. To surf a wave this big, you need to be taught into position with a rope and jet ski, as it's physically impossible to paddle at the same speed. Wiping out on one of these waves may hold you underwater for a minute or longer. So most big wave surfers can hold their breath for at least 3 minutes with ease. But this doesn't faze Rodrigo, who's continually on the hunt for even bigger and more terrifying waves. Surf's up, dudes! Let's keep this theme of extreme heights going as I introduce you to Alain Robert, aptly nicknamed French Spider-Man. He's a famous urban climber, not just because he's managed some incredible feats, but because he tends to do so illegally and a lot without using any conventional climbing equipment. The 57-year-old has scaled almost 60 landmarks across the globe with just his bare hands. Take a look as he ascends the office building of La Tour Total and Courbevoie, which reaches an incredible 587 feet. Or something that's a little more recognizable, here he is scaling the Petronas Towers of Kuala Lumpur, which measure in at a height of 1,483 feet. And most unbelievably of all, the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building, which is a whopping 17 feet high. To make that even more impressive, he completed the climb at night. Despite having been arrested over 13 times for illegally climbing these behemoth towers, he continues to this day to find new buildings to scale. My fingers are crossed for London's The Shard. Talking of the famous daredevils amongst us, it'd be impossible not to mention Felix Baumgartner. You might recognize him from his incredible stunt back in 2012 called Project Stratos. This saw Felix hoisted via balloon to the insane height of 127,851 feet. That's about 3 times as tall as commercial planes usually fly. He broke the unofficial record for the highest manned balloon flight. But that's not all. He then jumped free-falling from his capsule and a specially designed pressure suit before breaking the speed of sound and parachuting to Earth. Let me repeat that, he fell so fast he broke the speed of sound. That's about 1,125 feet per second. How do people get this ballsy? But Felix has even more impressive records hidden up his sleeve. He's also set the world record for the world's lowest ever base jump at only 29 feet by jumping from the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro back in 2007. Base jumping has a fatal injury rate that's 43 times higher than parachuting because there's such a short window in comparison to deploy the chute. Taking that to the next level, where the jump is so low, proves there's definitely something heavy about Felix. If it's extreme speed that really gets your heart racing, then you're going to love Daniel Koffler. Daniel's passion lies in speed flying, a hybrid sport combining elements of paragliding and parachuting for low ground flights that give the rider incredible velocity. You can see here as Daniel effortlessly coasts over the jagged terrain of the Corinthians Mountains before swerving at breakneck speed through the rocky hillside, less than a meter off the ground. And that's not the only stunning pulse. I think my heart genuinely stopped when I saw this footage captured of a run he completed in Austria. Just 1 second and one mistake could be game over at any point. But Daniel is a seasoned pro at 42 years old and with 21 years of experience under his belt, meaning he's definitely no stranger to playing with gravity. It's time to prove it's not just guys that have balls of steel, that is. Meet Stephanie Meilinger, a self-taught contortionist and gymnast who thrives on pushing the limits, literally. Her jaw-dropping stunts involve balancing on the most precarious edges, tips, and peaks she can find. And it doesn't stop there. Watch as she balances on the handles of Austria's stairway to nothingness, seamlessly moving the lower half of her body without a hint of fear about falling over the edge. Renowned for her audacious feats, including balancing on various buildings and landmarks, Stephanie never misses a beat, even in extreme conditions like bouncing on compacted sand, as shown in this video. Whether it's pure skill or sheer luck that keeps her safe as she tackles increasingly daring challenges, she certainly sets a new standard for doing it for the gram. Influencers, take note. Which of these remarkable athletes do you think has the boldest courage? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.